Making sure. Okay. There we go.
Now we can see everybody. Here we are. Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Little pup.
All right. Well,
Live in the breakfast show.
now that I'm here,
Good
morning.
Here.
Oh, what a cutie.
It's my baby.
All right. Well, before you introduce yourself, you want to introduce that beautiful puppy of yours?
Actually, this is my fiance Amy's puppy, and her name is Gali. Hello.
She's amazing. She's so cute.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
I love
God.
little dogs like that. They're so
Yeah,
Her uncle is Pablo Escobar. She runs the Cali cartel. She
Ooh.
takes. I'm from Colombia. I kill you all.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
She is. She's adorable. That's
Yeah.
awesome. All right. And on that note, who are you?
Yes.
My name's Dan Fila. I play drums in Sven Gali, which is a band from obviously Niagara Falls.
Yeah. Right on. I remember seeing pictures of them in Head's Tattoo Shop when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, I was like 14 or 15, and there were pictures of them all over Head's Tattoo Shop.
Yep, they're quite an incredible group of guys, that's for sure.
Right on.
How long? I guess you've been playing with them for quite a while then, yeah?
No, I think we're coming on to 4 or 5 years now that I've been with the band. So what happened is I played in a band called Varga, and Varga we were signed to BMG with Sony, or with Sony BMG with Sven Gali. And so we've been friends forever. And back in the 90s, I did some studio work with them. And, I always have admired all the guys. With the passing of Dee, obviously the band needed some time apart to, rethink life. When one of your best friends dies, I can't imagine what that was like for them.
No.
Yeah, that was a hard hit. But I mean, in saying that, Dee's with us all the time when we're jamming, when we're on stage, when we're writing. He's always part of our process. Like we feel his energy in the room, and especially on stage. We use some backing tracks live when we perform, and Dee's voice is actually on those tracks. So he's singing backup vocals with us while we're on stage.
Wow.
That's an unknown fact right there that I just shared with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Little insight.
Yeah.
Can I share this? Can I share this on Facebook? How do I do that?
Yeah.
You would go over to the Boneyard channel and then just share the link to say live now, right?
Yeah.
So this link that's above here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll be able to just share the stream.
Should be. I think it works like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you just go on to Facebook and share the stream from there.
Okay.
Or Twitch or D Live, or there's a few of them that we're on.
A Korean channel, I think.
Yeah, and a Russian channel and a German channel.
And a German channel as well now.
Okay. So we're trying to make sure we get everybody out there. Get out as far as we can without traveling anyway.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what got you into music? What brought you to where you are today?
Kiss Alive 2.
Pardon?
Kiss Alive 2.
Nice. Nice. Well, that answers one of my other questions.
Yeah, 2 for 1.
Yeah.
I was in grade 4, and one of my friends, his name was Daryl Kyle. His name is Daryl Kyle.
Yeah.
We don't really talk anymore, but he gave me this cassette. First, he brought the album to school, and he opened it up, and there's this guy breathing fire, and there's smoke and explosions and shit going on, and there's, the theatrics of it all really sucked me in, and then the music really spoke to me, and that was my first step. And then the next band that I got really into was Rush.
Oh, and yeah.
Still love Rush. So I spent most of my years in high school not paying attention to high school and learning songs on the newly formed Sony Walkman that came out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Sony Walkman destroyed my grades in high school.
Mine too.
And then and shortly after that, it was the discovery of Metallica, Slayer,
Yeah.
that genre of bands. I like Motley Crue. I like Def Leppard. But I mean, if I had to say, you know, if I was left on an island and I had to have, you know, 4 albums, one of them would be Master of Puppets by Metallica.
Yeah.
The other one would be Raining Blood by Slayer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Another one would be Moving Pictures by Rush.
Nice.
And I guess the fourth one would be probably Among the Living by Anthrax. So Anthrax actually took, Anthrax took
on anybody's top 5, but
No.
they are some of the best in the world. I think.
Yeah.
well, they're so clever. They took punk rock and amalgamated it with metal and came up with a completely new genre. I don't know
Yeah.
if I don't know if you know of a band called Stormtroopers of Death
Yes.
or SOD.
Yep. Yes. We were talking about them last night.
Yes, we were, yeah. We had Ryder on the show.
Yeah,
last
Ryder
night.
Johnson from Razor. We had him on the show last night, so we were talking about them.
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, SOD. That first album is crushing it. It comes in with that riff, and it's like I remember banging my head for dear life when I heard that. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. So yeah, that's what got me highly influenced and inspired with music. Along with that, I ended up going to university, and then I got a music degree in university, obviously. And it was there that I learned about people like Stravinsky and sort of the dark composers of the Romantic era. And Stravinsky was he wrote orchestral heavy metal music. There's a piece called The Rite of Spring by Stravinsky, which is depicting the breakup of the ice in the Volga River in Russia.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's the heaviest piece you've ever heard. It's called The Rite of Spring. You should check it out.
Definitely.
I don't have a pen. Write that down.
You gotta know. Wait, we gotta know. Notebook in my
Yeah.
phone.
Positively crushing.
People say things to us, and we're like, "Oh, we're just gonna write that down right now."
Yeah.
There you go.
That was awesome.
Hang on. There you go.
Can you guys hear me okay?
So, oh yeah, we can hear you. Perfect.
Yeah.
Definitely. Can you hear us all right?
Perfect.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, we usually we're doing this from he's in Barrie, I'm here. Our guest is wherever they are, and we all have headphones in.
All in the road.
So this is a little bit. We're still working on the microphone and stuff.
Yeah.
So we just want to make sure that it's all going well. And of course, we test these things live on the air, right?
Is there another way? There isn't.
There might be, but not for us.
No.
That's how we've made it this far.
Sink or swim.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So, and it looks like we're pretty strong swimmers right now.
Either we don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So what was the first show you ever went to?
What was the what?
The first show you ever went to?
Judas Priest Screaming for Vengeance tour, Maple Leaf Gardens,
No.
February 1983.
That's the year and month I was born.
Yeah. So I have to tell you a funny story about that. So after I went to see Judas Priest with my friend Joe Varga, who I was in a band called Varga with.
Yeah.
And, that was my first concert. And I saw that band up on stage and I said, that's what I want to do. And then 10 years later, we were playing in Phoenix, Arizona, and the singer of Judas Priest, Rob Halford, was at our show. So
Right
Rob Halford came to see our band. So after we were done playing our set, it's like the guys in the crew are coming over and saying, like, Halford's in the audience. I'm going, yeah, whatever, fuck off, don't lie to me. And lo and behold, Rob Halford is there. It's like, really dig your band. And it completely blew my mind, still to this day.
Yeah, right.
But then I had a chance to talk to him, and I told him, it's because of you that I'm here. And you have a few moments in life where like everything just seems to connect, right?
Mhm.
And that was one of those apex moments in life for me.
Mhm.
Wow, man.
Yeah,
That's
all those
pretty
full
cool
circle
to see
moments.
that,
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So tell us about Varga.
Varga was a speed metal band, formed when I was in grade 7. And with Varga, the very first show we played was at our school, and we stole shopping buggies from the supermarket to wheel our equipment to the school. Yeah, a lot of great stories. I mean, that was that band also sort of came to its demise after our second album. It's funny, the sophomore jinx, right? The first album hit really well, and then the second album just sucked, and it's rightfully so. It's rightfully so. I can't listen to that record. It's the biggest hunk of turd ever released.
At
So
least you're honest about it, right?
No.
I understand.
my own band. It's my own band. Yeah, and I co-wrote and I played on it, and I think it was the biggest waste of $250,000 a record label could have ever done.
Wow.
Yeah, so shortly after the release of that record, I quit. I said, we've obviously you change as people. You go on tour with people, and you live in a bus with people for 5-6 years, and you get these thoughts in your head like, I want to hit you in the hammer in the head while you're sleeping, because people get on your nerves so much, and and there wasn't that we lost our camaraderie.
Yeah.
Camaraderie, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
By hate now,
Yeah. Well,
Like-
you're not. You're driven by the I have to do this, not I want to do this.
Honestly, I need this to pay my bills. And it's funny, we were out tour. We're in Western Canada. And how much time do we have?
As much time as you need.
Yeah.
Like,
We're only 13 minutes in, and we got about an hour.
okay, cool. This is another one of those pivotal, life-changing stories.
Yeah.
So, we've been on tour for 7 years with Varga, and the last show of our Canadian tour was in Vancouver. We played the Town Pump, and after the show, I would like to what I would used to like doing, instead of getting completely baked and drunk all the time.
Yeah.
I grew out of that in my early 20s. For the first 3 years, it was exactly what it was supposed to be. In my early 20s, it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's what a normal person in the 20s did. I grew out of that really quickly, and I became more interested in seeing what was around me, and like we'd be in wicked parts of the world and going to see things. So my after show ritual, so I could go to sleep without drugging myself, was to go for a walk. And in downtown Southside Vancouver, there's a lot of homeless kids there, right? And I'm walking down the street, and I have my cutoff jean jacket over my black leather jacket. My hair's halfway down my back, and I don't look like a warm and welcoming type of person. And there's this kid wrapped up in a sleeping bag in front of this greasy spoon restaurant. And she goes, "Hey, mister, can I have some money?" And I went, "Fuck no. You're just going to go buy drugs. I'm not giving you any money. However, I'm really hungry, and I'm going to grab a bite in that restaurant that you're living in front of. Are you hungry? Do you want some food?" And she looked at me really weird. She goes, "Yeah, well, I guess I am kind of hungry." I said, "Okay, leave your sleeping bag out here and come in and have a burger with me." And me being the type of person that I am, I just flat out said, "Hey, why are you living in a sleeping bag in front of this restaurant?" And she was like, "Oh, you wouldn't understand. You're just some old guy." And I said, "Okay." And then I kept on probing. That's what I do. I probe. I look for information. And I said, "Well, is this something that you could talk to the police about?" And she goes, "I hate the police. They're pigs. They're blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Well, how about a school teacher?" And she said, school teachers are geeks. They don't know anything. They don't care about people. They have their summers off and blah, blah, blah. And at this point in my life, I'd been thinking about going back to university. And so then I continued to probe her. I go, look, man, just let me help you out here. What happened? Why are you living here? And she opened up to me and she told me that her mom got remarried and stepdad was coming to visit her in her bedroom at night. And when she told her mother did not believe her. So she ran away and lived in the streets of Vancouver. And the bus ride home from Vancouver to Hamilton is 4 days, 8 hours a day, 4 days. And I had a long time to think. And by that conversation and those 4 days changed my life, because it was then that I said, I'm meant to be in the classroom. I'm meant to be working with troubled kids who have shit going on in their lives, but nobody really cares or believes them. And so I got off the bus and I said, guys, I'm done with this. And people didn't speak to me for, I guess, 3 or 4 years, some of the guys in the band. And one of the guys in the band I don't even talk to anymore either, because he's not my kind of person, and he can live his own life the way he wants to. But that was another one of those pivotal moments.
Yeah, like a life-changing experience.
Yeah.
I can't even show them
Look, dude, I'm covered in goosebumps.
Oh yeah, those things happen, and they and in your life, learning to recognize when something is very important is, I'm still learning that as I go along. My fiance is very important to me. She's the other half of me. When I'm going off my OCD rails and I've got 8 and 10 things going on at a time and I can't focus on anything, she sits me down and she says, have a drink of water, just chill out for a bit, and she calms me down. And in order to be any type of artistic person, you have to have OCD, you have to have ADD, because that's how you learn how to play your instrument. It takes 10,000 hours to gain proficiency on any instrument. And in my life, I put in over 20,000. So you have to be pretty insane to do shit like that, to sit and tap at one thing for 20,000 hours, right? So
I get it. I understand that. Yeah, I've been writing since I was 6 years old, so I put my hours.
Exactly. When you're in writing mode, it's hard to turn that off, because you're sitting in a room full of people, but you're not there. You're in that other space. That's something that
somewhere else, not where I'm supposed to be right now.
I actually have a short story about that. When I was in grade 9, my science teacher used to give me shit all the time. Stop writing your poetry, pay attention in science. You should be paying attention to what I'm saying. One day she said to me in front of the entire class, you don't stop doing what you're doing and pay attention to me, you're gonna end up working in a bowling alley for the rest of your life.
Right.
So on her retirement, my gift to her was all 4 of my published books at the time.
Aha. Congratulations.
I mean, it just goes to show that no matter how much you're not paying attention, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And is it OCD, or is it us knowing what we're supposed to be doing?
Yeah. Well, it's a fine line. Sometimes it's insulting to people when you're not there. Yeah. But sometimes you just can't help it. You have an idea in your head and it's ruminating and it's growing, and again, that's something I need to work on. I'm not 20 years old anymore, obviously, so I have other things in my life that I need to take care of. And
that was a whole other life ago.
I know.
That was 3 lives ago.
Pardon?
That was 3 lives ago in my time.
Oh, I can understand that statement, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So what's new in the works? What are you kind of working on now that you can talk about?
So, as you know, we released Sven Gali 3. It was June. The last EP. which is something I'm super proud of that record. I don't listen to recordings that I played on because I hear things that bother me still. But Sven Gali 3 is the record that I still listen to all the time. I'm very proud of it. I was able to put out a performance where it was organic, and I actually really love the guys in the band. That's a difference. When you actually care about the people in the band, you want to give it your best effort. So
Yeah.
we have a video coming out for the song Hurt at the end of March.
All right.
Yeah, that's another crazy story. So we filmed the video in September, and one of the guys in the band lives in China, and he flies over for shows and for recordings.
Mhm.
And he's originally from Niagara Falls. His name's Andy Frank. So, yeah, the video, we had to send the hard drive, and it was sent over on a boat. So it took 6 weeks to get to China. And then it's a stupid story, and COVID just completely messing the world up. We haven't really been able to, get the editing done, but it's almost done. And the video it was shot in 4K, and it's very Stanley Kubrick type of vibe to it. And it's again something I'm very proud of, and I look forward to getting it out there because it's another one of those things that ruminates in my mind.
Mhm.
Like, where's this video? Why isn't this video done? And, yeah, but we're in the middle of this thing called the pandemic that's completely turned the world upside down. So that's what's happening right now. We're also in the middle of writing, as I told you. So we're in the middle of writing the next Sven Gali album, which we are hoping to have done, this time next year, the spring release. But we want to go with 20 songs and pick the best 10 instead of going into the studio with 10 songs and saying these are all great songs. And as you get older, you learn that not everything that you do is great.
No.
Yeah.
So when I'm writing a song and I'm downstairs in my basement playing, I have like, oh my God, this is going to be wicked. And then a week later, it's like, oh, this sucks. And I got to just drop it.
Yeah, no good.
So I don't read my poetry.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like sometimes you have to know when to stop, and maybe you'll go back to that song and say, oh, you know what? That's a cool little hook that could work over here.
Yeah, I'll take that over, put it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's our thinking process behind this next record. In the meantime, we're going to be releasing singles all through it. So in our day and age, I think it's not the best idea in the world to put out full-length records unless you're a fully established band.
Singles are where it's at right now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, yeah, and then that way you get more longevity. So we've managed to stretch the Sven Gali 3 out since September or since 2018. That's when we released the first single. So we've managed to stay relevant for 3 years with 4 songs.
Nice.
Our goal now is to every couple of months put out a song that we're super proud of, and then put out all those 10 songs together in an album.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think now it makes sense because you put out a whole album. Well, what do you do for the next year while the world's shut off? You can't.
Exactly. And people have the attention span of a snail at the moment, right?
Literally, just the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Just people have the attention span of bricks right now.
Yeah.
It's like, and there's so much stuff out there. So the great thing about the internet is that anybody can release music. Everyone's on a level playing field. The horrible thing about the internet is that everyone can release music because they're on the same playing field. Right? So in order for bands who are any good to rise through the cacophony of horrible bands out there, and I say that And I say that from the bottom of my heart, that there are bands out there that are putting out music and putting it out to people that have no business doing it. That should be in their basement honing their craft and, you know, having a job wherever they work. And that's the problem with music is people have to sift through so much crap before they go, oh yeah, this is great. And the advantage with Sven Gali is that, you know, the band has a well-established reputation. They have gold records, toured around the world. So,
Good.
you know,
That behind you there.
what was that?
Is that your gold records kind
Yeah.
of showing behind you on the wall? Is that?
Nice, yeah.
No, that's your.
Oh no, which one? Oh, that thing right there? No,
Right
that's
behind you right there.
behind the symbol.
No, behind, oh, maybe it is symbols.
Oh, it's symbols? Oh, I thought maybe it was gold records.
There you go.
There we are, yeah.
And there's also skulls right where Amy's sitting. If you have a look back there.
Right on.
Can't go wrong with a skull.
No.
Yeah.
It's a fun little space.
Everybody's got great backgrounds when they come in from live stream.
No, right?
Yeah. Well, this is my space. This is where I spend a lot of my time, and yeah, I feel safe down here. You know, there's some places where, I mean, the real world is a really insane place, and being a teacher, it's like I don't always feel super safe where I am because you're so accountable for everything. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
you have to be very, very politically correct. And, you know, I go to work because I love working with young people, as my story earlier would have mentioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love doing that, but the politics involved in the job they're a little bit scary. But when I come home and I'm in my drum room where I'm sitting here, it's like I know that no one can touch me here. I know that when I'm behind my drum kit, that no matter, like, I played in front of Lars Ulrich when we opened up for Metallica. I played in front of, you know, the top drummers in the world. And when we did play with Metallica, James Hetfield was at the side of the stage and he watched our whole set. And at the end of the set, he has his arms folded and just went, the James Hetfield nod. And it was at another pivotal moment in life. It was at that time where I gave zero shits about what people thought about my drumming.
Right.
And it was it's solidified. It's like, you know, I'm expressing how I feel, and it's speaking to people. And if you can speak to the biggest metal band lead singer of all time, there will never be another band as big as Metallica ever in the metal genre. And if you can get by that, you know, and that made me feel safe. That brought me to that one space like, okay, I'm safe here. And that's why I enjoy playing the drums to this day. It's not for the money, definitely not for the money. Sven Gali is, we run the deficit all the time, right? But we don't have to do it for the money. Everyone has successful careers. You know, Dave Wanless runs several companies out in the Niagara Falls area. John Minden has several financial businesses. And Andy has companies in China. So, yeah.
So where all have you toured then? You've been all around the world then, eh?
All around the world. Eastern Europe, England, Belgium. Part of this.
What was your favorite spot? Like, where was your best spot that you really loved to play then? Like,
well, we played at a festival in Belgrade called the Beer Festival. And the Beer Festival is in, the setting is an ancient castle. So it's like in the ruins of an ancient castle. It's called Kala Megdan. And it's in the city of Belgrade. And there were 30,000 people there. And I remember looking on stage and I could not see the end of the people. And we were on, it was night. It was like a super clear night. All the stars were out. And I remember playing 40 minutes and just a lot of people went home that night with very sore asses because we kicked them hard. That would be like as far as, you know, size and it was just everything. It was, the vibe was just
The
incredible.
whole thing, the whole setting, everything. You played in the castle in front of
Yeah.
30,000 people.
Amazing. I'm so sorry. I had to excuse myself. My kids just walked in the door.
It's all good.
They were
I'll
supposed
keep
to
my
be home
language
for
in.
half an hour, and here we are. So
Yeah. So that was a good experience for me.
yeah,
Another one.
that's
One of,
incredible.
like the best vlog.
Yeah, I could hear you from the front of the house. That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's another life-changing story here as we're going in that mode.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey,
Let's just keep going.
hey, Sunday morning, preach the word, my brother.
We're preaching the word. All right. So that was in 2005, and I hadn't talked to my father or seen him in 20 years, and he happened to live in Slovenia, which is a 25-minute flight from Belgrade. So I was carrying a lot of hate with me, and I think that in the early years of drumming, that hate fueled me wanting to play and to become really good at something. And I was angry that he left me and moved to another country, another continent.
Mm-hmm.
I had this feeling in the back of my mind. It's like, you know what? I should just fly over there and see him. So I called my cousin and arranged the meeting to go see my dad, which is completely insane. Like that. It's just one of those gut feelings. So I went there and I met him after 20 years, and he was an old, sick man, and I felt sorry for him. And it was a heavy weight lifted off my shoulders after that. After we spoke and we had lunch, and he was an alcoholic, and I understood what it's like not to get along with women, because by that point I'd been divorced already once.
Yeah.
So I got it. And that same night I flew back to Montenegro to where the band was staying that night. We had a villa there for a week, and that was also wicked. But 4 months later he died.
Huh.
So, and there was just something pushing me to go see him while I was there. And it's just one of those. I'm not a huge spiritual person, and but there's something in your gut that tells you need to do this.
It's a universal moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got this strange belief system that like we are all that little part of the universe that makes the universe. Obviously, we create what we see, right? Before we see it, we create it, and the universe knows, and that the gut feeling we have is the universe telling us, hey, you got something to do. You got shit to do.
Yeah. So yeah, that was another one of those moments. So I'm sorry about my ADD and OCD going from one place to another, but
we follow you better that way because we understand. And I'm sure every other musician and writer and artist that's watching completely understands as well.
Good. All right, cool.
Yeah, I'm that guy that tells 15 stories and I don't finish any of them. And once I started all 15, then I go to the first one and I go, okay, so the end of this story is, and then I make my way through the rest of the stories.
Yeah.
I'm sure my kids got sprayed by a skunk.
Oh yeah.
Because that's all I can smell.
Nice.
The dog didn't get sprayed by a skunk. When I opened the door to let the kids in, that's all I could smell in the hallway with the skunk. So, well, let's hope it's either in the hallway or it's not that.
Yeah.
Speaking of just going off in tangents.
Yeah.
No, it's just never a dull moment around here, like you say, he's bouncing from here to there with stories and stuff. So I figured I would just go completely off topic and, throw that out there.
Get it. Makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's how great conversation happens too. You kind of just throw things out there and somebody goes, oh, I got a great story that sounds like this, or I got a great story that sounds like that. Like, I was at the Opera House, and I was 19 or 20 years old. I broke my glasses parking the car. We had $130 for scalp tickets that were $150 a ticket. We were pissed. And this guy walks up to me and my friend, and he hands me this little ball of paper, and I open it, and the only words out of my mouth are, oh my God, we're real. He handed us 2 Perfect Circle tickets. And
Right.
you're a Kiss fan, so I imagine that you've seen Detroit Rock City.
Yep.
So the end of the movie when they beat the shit out of each other and they're the last two that walk in.
Yep.
Well, we were the last two to walk into the Opera House.
Wow.
We felt amazing.
We made it.
So, well, yeah, so I'm standing at the bar, you know, during the first band and hanging out and talking to this guy. And then afterwards, after the show, this really tall guy comes back. We have a couple beers and we're talking. And the little guy that handed me the tickets says to me, "That's Danny Carey." The little guy that gave me the tickets was Maynard's publicist.
Nice.
So what's your, like, oh my God, I can't believe this fucking happened story?
Well, geez, where do I start?
Anyone?
Yeah.
What's the last? Because obviously we haven't been able to play or jam in the last fucking year or so. Like, so what was your most recent moment? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, just talking with the guys and writing and sending material back and forth, and it's hard because Sven Gali are 5 very unique and individual people.
Yeah.
And for everyone to decide that something is good, it takes a lot of work. So an idea will come, and before it's like, for example, I just finished writing a song and I sent it to the guys, and there's some decent parts in it. There's some good hooks, but it's not Sven Gali. It's me sitting at a computer and playing all of the instruments very poorly. I'm not a keyboard player. I'm not a guitar player, but
Right.
I'm able to sort of express those things in a very limited capacity. And, you know, getting the other guys to come in and put their parts on that song, that's what will make it a Sven Gali song. And that's been, you know, a great moment for us to hear that music, but it's also so frustrating because we could have that done in 5 minutes if we were in a room together. Just go through this song and, you know, and get a pocket, get a real feel for it instead of, you know, I'd program things on Easy Drummer and just, you know, it sounds like a robot just because it's ones and zeros. No feeling it. It's just like 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 foot. You know, it's that's what music on the computer is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, as far as band moments, that was a pretty big one. And yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so you did mention that like being in a room together versus having to do everything from home. How much have your dynamics changed from being in a room together and being able to bang out a track versus having to do it by sending it back and forth? And like, do you find that the music itself has changed because your dynamics have changed?
Well, the music hasn't had a chance to evolve yet, so they're just ideas. But if we're in a room together, like being in a band is you're vibing off of each other. You're feeling what the bass player is doing, and that's how you get a solid rhythm section. You're getting that, you know, getting that groove, and the guitar player is adding their parts, and then Dave Wanless coming in and just adding his vocal color. That's something that we could get done in a couple of days as opposed to 3 months, which is how long we've been working on the latest song. And it's ridiculous. But that's our current reality. And after this is done, you're going to see that one of two things is going to happen with bands. They're going to break up, for one thing, because they've gone on, they're frustrated, they've gone on, or they're going to come out, not have written any songs, not have rehearsed, and they're going to sound like absolute trash.
Yeah, that's something we've talked about a lot.
Yeah, we've been talking about that a lot. There's it's definitely putting the industry to a test.
Well, it is. And then there's other bands like Sven Gali who are working throughout this pandemic. Like we're writing, I'm playing drums every day, and I would say right now I'm in better form than I was before the pandemic.
Yeah. That's my next question. How has this helped you?
Yeah, what am I going to do in a lockdown? Well, I'm going to go downstairs and play the drums. I'm going to go downstairs. So
play guitar through this.
When schools were shut down, it wasn't that horrible for me. It's
So
like,
I
I have a swimming pool in my backyard. I go swimming, and I drum, and Amy and the kids come over. We hang out and we have barbecue. So it's the pandemic has been a horrible thing, but I think it's also amplified the things in life that are meaningful and most important to you as a person.
Yeah. Well, I noticed a lot being essential with what I do. Every time we go and be ripping someone's house apart and shit, especially during this pandemic, they all have gardens in the backyard now. They're actually growing their own food and shit, and I think it's helped a lot of people in that way, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
have gotten back to themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that this has been a great wake-up call for the world in that we're not invincible. And, it forces you to make choices about, do I care about this or do I not care about this?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's done for me. So I've went from, having a scope of things I care about that are that wide to a scope, my scope has become very focused.
Yeah.
I agree. I have, my future life with my fiance and our kids, my job, and my music and my mom. And outside of that, there's not really many other things that are high on my priority list. Like the guys in the band, I don't have a lot of friends. I wonder why, because I'm such a dick. That's probably why. But another reason why is that I choose not to. I don't want people to know me. I don't want to bring people into my lives before, for me it's trust, building trust and having that, I know that there are 5 people out there, five people who would stand out in front of a truck for me. And I know that. And I would do the same for them. As opposed to, I have 5,000 friends on Facebook and so many followers. And, that means nothing. I mean, I'm so grateful to know you guys and have met you.
No, exactly the same.
And I'm enjoying our conversation. Obviously, you're amazing people. I cannot wait to meet you.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate that. No. Absolutely reciprocate that. Sure.
Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm sure you feel the same way, right? You have the people in your circle. People's circles have tightened.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with that. And I have to say, it's funny that a lot of the circle for me that's tightened have been longtime friends. Mm-hmm. People that have been in my life for 20, 25 years. And I'm like, what have we been doing for 25 years? I don't know. We don't have anything in common or, it's weird. I've made a lot of new friends. You and I have become very close, and I've made a lot of new friends and stuff, and actual people that I call friends. But I find the ones that I'm weeding out are a lot of my long-term friends that it's not that I don't have time, I don't have time. And I mean that lovingly. I mean that lovingly, but this really made me focus inward on what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be in the next 5 years. And as soon as I started going, this is what I want in my life, this is who I want in my life, this is how I want my life, the universe went, here you go.
That's brilliant.
So
you should publish that. That's actually brilliant.
Got it. Thank you.
It's a great philosophy.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate hearing that.
So I've seen some shit, I guess. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you and what you're up to.
Yeah.
Normally I'm a mouth. I can go all day long. Aside from last night, which I barely said 2 words last night. I know. And I just to add this before we go on, I think I figured it out actually. And it's because we have so much conversation that I couldn't think of questions to ask because I already know so much.
Yeah, and you can't reveal because it's kind of behind.
Right. Well, some of it I can, and some of it I can't. So.
I come in knowing nothing, so I
exactly
all day long.
Yeah. So usually when we do the interviews, I'm the one running my mouth, and last night I had nothing to say. So, yeah, can I help you? Head over to your room, please. See, this is like life, you know what I mean? Like, I work from home, I homeschool, like, so, you know, how do you balance your chaos? Because clearly I'm not balancing mine right now.
Balancing is something that I'm working on. I work a lot at school. I take my job working with young people very, very, very seriously. Sometimes the kids that walk into my building, the only smiling face that they'll see, I mean, when my mask is off,
Right.
the only smiling face that they'll see that day is me. The only person that will acknowledge them is me. Say, hey, how's it going? I hope you have a great day. Welcome to school. A lot of these kids are coming, you know, I work in Burlington, and Burlington, as you know, it is high up on the socioeconomic range. But it also has scoops in the socioeconomic range where, you know, kids are living in housing projects, and we have a lot of kids there who are refugees from Syria who've been through these devastating conditions of, you know, watching parents die and living in refugee camps. And those are sort of the checkpoints in my life where I say, you know, I have problems, but, you know, they're first world problems.
Yeah.
And my job at school, again, what I say is, you know, am I the world's greatest teacher? Hell no. But you know what? Every kid that leaves my classroom will know how they felt in my classroom. They'll know that they felt welcome. They know that they felt like they had a voice. They know that they were seen. They know that they were heard, and they know that they're valued. And that, you know, as an educator, that's what I care about. I don't remember anything from high school other than the Sony Walkman. Nothing else.
I remember two teachers and the music I was listening to. And those two people, along with my science teacher, she had an impact on what I did after high school, right? As far as science and my career.
Yeah.
But then the other one was Mr. Duquette, which was the part of my concept construction design. And that's another trade that I went into as far as construction and working in that my whole life, right? Other than those two people, I don't remember a fucking thing from high school, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Aside from my science teacher, I remember two teachers. Miss Marchese, she was my English teacher in grade 9, and she hated my guts because she hated my brother. So that was the precursor. I didn't get to prove who I was. Yeah. And I had Mr. Brockwell, who went to bat for me. And, you know, like, I went through some shit when I was a kid. I got into drugs and stuff like that. So by the time I hit 18 years old, I was in rehab. And when I had when I had gotten out, he went to bat for me. He went to the school and said, listen, you know, like, she deserves an education. You know, like, it just, he really made sure that he paid attention to what I was up to. And that's what actually helped me keep going with my writing. Because I put it down for a little while.
Yeah.
You know, thinking I was going to go anywhere with it, because I kept getting told by teachers, and, you know, by this, get a real job, and, you know, pay attention in my class, and this and that. And, you know, I just kind of put it down and did my thing for a little while. And then when I got sober, I picked it back up, and it was all because of Mr. Brockwell. So I like hearing you say that what matters to you is how your kids feel at the end of the day. That's important, because
that is important.
You know,
I never even thought about it until you were just talking about it. And I think about it, there was two teachers, and that was it. Like,
and I always go back to Brockwell. Anytime I talk about my career, I always say, hey, that's the teacher that said, you know, you can do it, and I'm going to make sure that people know you can do it. So, and he's the one who actually handed my science teacher the books.
Good. That's incredible. That's a great story to hear. And I mean, your story speaks to you overcoming adversity and having the resilience to stand up for yourself and to believe in yourself. And that's a quality that I'm working very hard at to instill in my daughter and to the other, you know, youth that I'm working with. It's you're going to get kicked in the ass, and you're going to get thrown to the ground a lot of times in life. And you can do one of two things. You can stay on the ground and say, oh, my life is over. Or you can pick your ass up and say, okay, I'm going to try this again. And as a newcomer to Canada, I came to Canada when I was 6 years old with my family, and we were very poor. And along the way, my members in my family got very wealthy, and I wasn't one of them, right? So, and I always said, you know what? I'm going to be a rock star. I'm going to go and I'm going to tour the world, and this is what I'm going to do. And they laughed in my face.
Yeah,
They laughed,
They
they laughed in my face until we're, hosting an MTV Headbangers Ball. And that sort of opened up my family's eyes and said, wait a minute. MTV's in the States and the Headbangers Ball, they're on Beavis and Butthead. Oh, wait a minute. I guess he has done okay. Or the 52-foot long tour bus pulling up in front of my house to pick me up. I'll see you in 10 months, right? But had I listened to that, and that came from like very influential people in my life, right? And if you don't, and had I listened to them, I don't know where I would be right now. And I certainly, I think my life would have taken a very dark path, because like I said, I had a lot of anger building up inside of me from being abandoned by my dad and all of those other things that happened in my life that modeled the person who I am. And I was fortunate to find music and as a way to let that all out. I can't imagine what I would be if I couldn't play the drums.
Yeah,
right? Just the intensity and the pressure that lets go is there's no drug on earth that does that.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I've done all the drugs on earth, and you're 100% right on that.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah. I can agree with that.
Okay, so I've got to tell you one more story, and my fiance just reminded me of this. So in my backyard there's a pool, and people, my fiance and the kids were all outside and they're swimming and just having fun. And this is according to my fiance. This is a story. So one blackbird came on a wire while I was playing, right? And the more I played, and like the sort of more aggressive the bird I started playing, my fiance said the entire wire at the back of my house was filled with these black birds just going caw, caw, just making all these insane noises. And the minute I stopped, they all left.
Wow.
And at first I'm going, yeah, right, that's not true. But then all the kids backed it up and said, yeah, there's all sorts of black birds here. So the evil birds, I guess I'm there. I guess that's my most recent insane story.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You have an audience even in the pandemic.
Yeah, really.
10,000 birds on the lawn, right?
Yeah, it would have been awesome to have a picture of that, but I guess
that was cool,
that would have been cool.
But yeah, it's something. I guess I guess the vibrations or something brought all the birds out, but it was really how they all flew away the minute I stopped.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's neat how things like that happen. Eh?
No, right?
Yeah.
So where can we find all your stuff, all your merch and all that fun stuff?
You know what? I'll put in a couple links right now. Okay, is that cool?
Perfect. Yeah. I'll add it.
Okay.
Right on. That's awesome. Thank you. So is there anything else you want to tell us before we let you go to move on for your day?
I want to tell you that I really enjoyed being on your show. That you're great.
Oh, it's an honor to have you on. You're a legend in the industry.
Yeah, that's 2 in a row. Thank you so much for coming on this morning. We appreciate it.
And to find out, I didn't know you were in Ontario. I didn't know you were over here in the Hammer, man.
Yeah, I'm Hammer boy. Boy from the Hammer there. You can find everything on our Facebook site.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And, we also
We'll
have,
make sure we make stuff today sometime.
Yeah, and you're not far, so we'll certainly make a trip out,
Yeah.
well, we,
definitely.
as soon as we start playing again, you'll definitely know about it. And
Perfect.
I feel like I've made friends with you guys. I feel like we've made a connection today, and I really appreciate that. Sometimes you'll have a conversation with people and it'll be very sterile, but I appreciate the energy that you brought to this, and you made it an enjoyable experience for me. Thank you so much.
Well, we appreciate that as well, absolutely. And I'd like to, maybe when we're backstage or later on this afternoon, I'll get a hold of you, and I'd like to talk to you about the book I write, Sofa City Sounds. And
That sounds
maybe
awesome.
a little bit.
That sounds cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. And you're always welcome on the show, like, even if you want to pop in one time with a special guest.
Yeah, anytime.
Anytime, man.
I'd love to hang out. You know, we can sit down
Yeah, for
and
sure. As
talk
soon
together.
as we're in.
Yeah.
So, right on. Well, thank you. We greatly appreciate this.
Yeah, my pleasure, and it's a pleasure meeting all of you.
Awesome.
All
Well,
right.
hang around and we'll close up backstage.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
I think I know how to do it.
Right on. Thanks.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Peace, yeah.
There we go.